Hi there. Welcome to our session on green marketing. There is more and more to learn about this these days as people become more aware and concerned about the impact of their products and services, and as a byproduct, the marketing of those products and services have on the environment. We're going to start by talking about your customers. Then we're going to talk about 3 sustainable approaches to marketing: the sustainable 4 Ps, the green marketing grid, and CRED, and then a marketing plan that will help you target your audience with effective strategy and tactics. First, let's take a look at potential green customers. If you take a look at public awareness and public views on sustainability, you'll find that there are 3 groups. There are the latent publics. These are groups that face a problem but fail to recognize it. There are the aware publics. These are groups that are recognized that a problem exists. And there are the active publics. These are groups that are doing something about the problem. Depending on who you're trying to reach, your message and your marketing approach will be different. More on that later. A study by the Yale School of the Environment on American attitudes towards the environment showed that they could be divided into 9 groups. And these fall into 3 general groups. First, there are the Greens. The liberal Greens are 9% of the American public. They care deeply about the environment, even though they may not be really outdoors people, which is the next group. The outdoor Greens are 10% of the American public, and a majority consider themselves to be environmentalists because they feel deeply connected with nature. And then there are the religious Greens, 14% of the American public, who care deeply about the environment because it is part of their faith. They're very worried about the environment, even though they also may not spend a whole lot of time outdoors. Marketing to these 3 segments is easy for those of us with sustainable products and services. Obviously, you should focus on how your product and service helps us care for the environment. They also have a strong sense of justice and fairness, so appealing to that aspect could be effective. Next, there are the browns. Although these are the terms that are used by the study, I wouldn't be too wedded to them since they have a negative connotation, and you do want to persuade this significant population in your workplace and your community. However, the study indicated that these folks have a generally negative attitude towards environmental issues, though not necessarily towards the environment. And that is most obvious with the outdoor browns. These are 15% of the American public, and they enjoy the outdoors and believe that nature is there to be used. They usually aren't very interested in environmental issues. The religious browns, 8% of the American public, are maybe outdoorsy people or not, but they can be quite negative when environmental activists challenge their values. And then there are the conservative browns, which are 8% of the American public. Conservative browns generally don't believe that there is an environmental crisis. It is indeed possible to reach the browns as long as you approach them from their values. They are generally religious, loyal, and respectful of authority. Then there are those that either waffle back and forth or don't care much about the issue. The middle of the roaders are 10% of the American public. They may be concerned about the environment, but they also like the way they live and suggest that technology can solve our environmental problems. Homebodies are 20% of the American public. They are the largest group. They care about the environment, but they don't generally call themselves environmentalists. They are usually more indoors than outdoors people. And finally, there are the disengaged. They are 6% of the American public. Environmental issues do not resonate with them. The disengaged are the only group that has more minorities than white, and their priorities, frankly, lie elsewhere. Marketing innovative high-tech solutions will reach the middle of the roaders, while practical solutions are more likely to appeal to the homebodies. Connecting green solutions to the issues valued by the disengaged, like justice and fairness, might actually reach them. Note that the groups basically fall into a third, and a third, like the earlier description of latent, aware, and active publics. Generally speaking, your marketing should focus on a smaller segment of the customer base than everybody. So look for some patterns, like the outdoor greens and the outdoor browns and the homebodies, the religious greens and the religious browns. Yes, their attitudes toward green efforts may differ, but they do have commonalities that you can tap into. Now it's your turn. Who are your most likely customers? Who would you like to reach? So now that you have a bit of knowledge about the whole world of American customers, let's take a look at 3 green marketing approaches to see how you might be able to craft your marketing message. These approaches can be helpful when addressing almost all the groups we just discussed. The first approach is the sustainable 4 Ps approach. If you've had any exposure to marketing methods, you might have heard of the 4 Ps in marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. If this is the first time you're hearing about this, this may surprise you because we tend to conflate marketing with advertising. But the only part of the 4 Ps that addresses advertising is the promotion piece. The point of addressing these 4 elements is to create a complete, cohesive plan that focuses all aspects that can impact a customer's decision to buy. All 4 are important pieces of the picture. So we'll take a look at each one with a somewhat more detailed look at promotion because there's so many options to consider. The first is looking at the product from a marketing perspective. Traditionally, marketers look at the product in terms of the needs that the product meets. They focus on highlighting the quality and the features and options, services, warranties, and brand names. Packaging is used as valuable marketing space. All of this is still true of green products, but there is more. Sustainable 4 Ps marketing looks at the green characteristics of products. What are the social and environmental impacts of making, using, and disposing of the product? A product could be called green if its production process is eco-friendly and less damaging to the environment. Sustainable services, like those done by consultants, look at developing green solutions. Packaging is seen as potential waste and minimized, rather than only being seen as product protection and valuable real estate for advertising the product. Standard characteristics of pricing examines various ways of attracting customers with thoughtful selection of prices. From a sustainability standpoint, you need to balance the triple bottom line, people, planet, and profit, with profit and people in this case. All pricing choices should be done with integrity and transparency. Some of the standard pricing options are more based on sustainable values than others. Here are some of the options. There's cost plus, which adds a standard percentage of profit above the cost of producing the product. There is competitive, which is basing your prices on the competing products. The going rate, the price that's charged, that is the common going rate in the marketplace. This is often a price that you don't have any control over. And then there's the discount, which is based on a reduction of the advertised price. The loss leader, which is based on selling at a price lower than the cost of production to attract customers in the store to buy other products. Ask yourself if this is sustainable, if this has integrity. Then there is value-based, which is based on the buyer's perception of value rather than your costs. The buyer's perception is dependent on all aspects of the product, including green features. And this allows premium pricing for products that are perceived as green, such as ecotourism. However, to be sustainable, you would want to balance that with the sustainable values of fairness and a desire for everybody to buy green. Skimming involves the introduction of a product at a higher price for affluent consumers, and later the price is decreased. This helps pay for initial R&D and allows people who are less well off to have the premium products at some point. And finally, there is the psychological, which is based on a price that looks better, like $9.97 instead of $10. This has a significant psychological effect. Sustainable pricing considers both the economic and environmental costs of production in marketing, while simultaneously providing value for customers and a fair profit for business. The first is full cost accounting. What is the true cost of the product? Does it create social and environmental impacts, which create costs that others have to bear? These costs might happen during the creation of the product or at the end of its useful life when it's disposed of. Frankly, this is a hard sell for your company leaders, but if you become aware of environmental damage, you can use this estimated cost to encourage greener practices. Second is incorporating corporate social responsibility in the pricing. Not only should you consider the environment, but you should also find out how people are being treated during the production of your product, whether it's the employee being paid a wage that's too low to cover basic needs, or the surrounding community being subjected to pollution, noise, or truly obnoxious odors. Finally, you should consider price sensitivity. This is a careful balance of selecting a price that supports both high profit and high sales, because the higher the cost, the fewer the likely sales. If you explore the price sensitivity of your product, you can determine your customers' willingness to pay for green features. Nowadays, there are interesting and new places from which to engage with customers. Traditionally, of course, there are retail storefronts. Then there are small group sales, like parties in the house, like Pampered Chef, and consignment shops that sell gently used products, very sustainable. There are the on-site consultants or services like solar installers. And finally, there's the old world of mail order and the new world of e-commerce. So how do you make place more sustainable? Ask yourself, can the physical distribution be greened and made socially responsible? Are there significant transport costs involved? So first, as much as possible, the place should be local, which supports local suppliers and reduces the environmental damage from transportation. Most of the damages to the environment occur during the transportation of goods. Second, you can make sure there's a recycling mindset that translates into the infrastructure needed to recycle all waste. And finally, you can think critically about reverse logistics, which includes the recovery, renewal, removal, and re-engineering. Reverse logistics refers to monitoring the life cycle of your products after they arrive at the consumer. This could include how your product could potentially be reused, how it could be properly disposed of after use, and is there any other way that your expired or used product can create value? Promotion is the last of the 4 Ps. This is the part of marketing that we usually think of. Websites, radio, direct mail, word of mouth, PR, industry advertising, outreach and volunteering, signage, direct mail and email, and television. There are a number of ways that you can be sustainable in your promotional advertising. Are the claims accurate and truthful? Are we encouraging excessive consumption? Are we encouraging sustainable behavior? Don't forget to focus on the people aspects of the triple bottom line. We can engage in relationship selling, which is both effective and sustainable. We can sponsor community activities or scholarships. There are many ways to get the word out about your product or service, but there also is a lot of competition for our attention. It's important to look at marketing analytics, which are statistical tools that measure the reach and impact of your advertising to see which gives you the best return for your money. Have you ever been asked where you heard about business? Have you ordered something from a TV ad and used a special website or coupon code? If you have a website, you can use tools like Google Analytics to track your search engine optimization, or SEO. That is, how easy it is to find your website. These are all ways to track the effectiveness of your advertising. Going green, which aims to bridge the business and the community, can sometimes require a major public relations initiative because many green products and services can be a little more expensive, sometimes a lot more expensive. Publicizing products and highlighting their green features can really be two goals that your green advertising should achieve. Like new and improved products and services, recognition, community involvement, business milestones, health and safety news and information, green innovations, contests, promotions, and special events, the results of polls and surveys, workshops, and success stories of customers. One of the biggest advantages of PR campaign is that it's largely free. However, if you write articles, the journalists and bloggers that receive your PR article are inundated with similar pitches for their attention, more than $2,500 a year for big publications. So how can you get their attention? This is an important and challenging process. It's all about relationship. This focuses on the social or people side of the triple bottom line. First of all, you don't want to approach the journalists out of the blue. Start by following them on social media, leaving comments, sending them emails before you send over your pitch. Don't use social media, direct messages, or phone calls. Your pitches should all be in the form of personalized emails. 70% of journalists and bloggers said that they preferred collaborating on a story rather than getting a finished version. It might sound like more work, but it helps journalists put their personal spin on the story, which is crucial to their readership. So to communicate your ideas, send a rough outline and work with them to develop it into a fully fleshed piece. If you have any exclusive research, share it on targeted publications that have a large social reach, especially if your aim is to get backlinks and shares. Don't publish it on the larger blogs where it might get buried, and certainly don't publish it on your own blog where you won't have nearly half the audience. There's a strong demand among content creators for visual content. They want more infographics, data visualization, and mixed media projects. But most of all, content creators want high-quality articles. You can imagine why. Journalists are flooded with emails, and if it doesn't capture their intention in the inbox, it likely won't capture their readers' attention on the blog. Now it's your turn. Create a 4Ps plan for your product or service. Next, we're going to examine a fascinating approach to developing an increasingly green marketing strategy at multiple levels. This was developed by John Grant in the Green Marketing Manifesto. John Grant developed a green marketing grid to guide you in growing from green to greener to greenest strategies. Green strategies set new standards and communicate green ideas. Greener strategies encourage customers to share responsibility and collaborate, and the greenest strategies, according to Grant, support innovation and seek to reshape the culture. This is done in 3 levels: marketing the company as a whole to the market as a whole, marketing brands to groups, and marketing products to individuals. You can then decide whether markets, groups, and customers will respond better to green greener or greenest strategies, and you can work at several levels at once. So let's take a look at the tactics that encourage people to buy green. First, at the company level, you can set the example as a sustainable business. You can point to good examples inside your business. To help your branding, you can link with credible partners. You can seek out eco labels to earn certifications for your products. And at the individual level, you can market the benefits of sustainable products. You can create products that are longer lasting, more durable and efficient, and over the long term save money and also use less. Or more, you can create products that are healthier, safer, and yet better tasting with more flavor. If you think your market is ready for you to go greener, or if you want to take that step as an environmental leader, then you can consider the following tactics. As a leader, your company can take steps to develop the market for green products. You can educate customers with consumer guides, or you can evangelize. You can press for change and look for win-win solutions, or appeal to common values across the community. When developing a brand, you can target a particular group of customers, which Grant calls a tribe, and connect your product to them. Tribes can be either exclusive or inclusive. You can appeal to customers who want to be in the in crowd, like buying a Tesla, or products adopted by celebrities, or you can be inclusive by advertising that you're open and available for all, like grassroots products. Finally, you can work with the individuals to change their usage of a product or service. You can encourage customers to switch by offering a greener, near identical product in which you make sure that people can make the changes at minimum cost and effort or sacrifice, like my Prius. Or you can develop a product that allows you to cut usage, like cold water laundry soap, which cuts hot water. The greenest strategies focus on challenging the culture. On the company level, that means developing totally new business models that are greenest. The greenest strategies have been implemented through such things as social production, in which things of value, material, or information are offered free, but for fair exchange or donations. On the community level, it means embedding green ideas in products or service. I'm not too keen on the Trojan horse idea, but I understand what he's talking about. You can align new products with traditional values, or you can provide a new and special experience. Think Starbucks. And on the individual level, it means challenging the whole idea of consuming, which seems contraindicated in a marketing arena. But you can provide products that customers can treasure and keep by making them collectible, unique, or do it yourself. Or you can start a business in the sharing community, like Uber or Airbnb. This is what it looks like as a whole. Now it's your turn. Use the grid on the next slide to identify tactics that you can use to support green, greener, and greenest behaviors. You can replace the words in the white boxes with your tactics. You don't have to come up with a tactic for each strategy, just the ones that are most applicable. The third sustainable approach to marketing is CRED, or credibility, relevance, effective messaging, and differentiation. This is used to develop a story for a product or service that can be used to create the advertising copy for marketing materials. This is the closest to where the rubber meets the road. So what is CRED? CRED identifies 4 key characteristics of green companies and their products and services. To build credibility, ask yourself, how can we build trust? For relevance, ask yourself, how can we use green to create value? For effective messaging, ask yourself, how can we take all the complicated data on the reasons for buying greener products and translate those into a compelling message? And finally, how do we differentiate our product and service from the competition? To build credibility, messages need to be backed by facts and figures. Using eco-labels and accreditation can help do that. You can also use product fact sheets, websites, and customer service lines. To make sure that the relevance of the product is clear to the customer, ask yourself, will it create value for the stakeholders? Will it attract and retain employees, which reduces turnover costs, because employees like working for innovative and environmentally responsible companies? Is it something that will delight customers and give investors and employees something to brag about? Like, for example, we sell green roofs. For effective messaging, you need to be able to translate complicated environmental data and make it into a compelling story. It's also important to use the right channels to reach the right people. You wouldn't use radio to explain complicated charts. Finally, you need to differentiate your product or service from all the others. The bar is continuing to rise. More and more companies are recognizing the value of including green characteristics. And national, state, and local governments are encouraging and rewarding green features. And innovations are increasing the environmental efficiency and reducing the impact of products and services on the environment. Therefore, it's not necessarily important that you do more, but that you do distinctive things. So now it's your turn. Take a look at one of your products and services. Take it through the CRED process to identify the characteristics that highlight the greenness of your product or service. Craft that into a compelling story. This might include how it was developed, how employees feel about representing your company, or testimony from a delighted customer. Now it's time to put it all together in a marketing campaign. Start with a mission statement. What is the purpose of this marketing campaign? Not of your company, but of the marketing campaign itself. What are its goals? Then describe your customers. Identify any special circumstances that affect their purchasing decisions, like time of year, or emotional factors, or taxes, or availability. Think COVID shortages. Consider the sustainable aspects of your products and services, its pricing, your location, and the promotional possibilities. Next, develop your strategies and tactics, initially determining if your customers are prepared for you to be green, greener, or greenest. And don't restrict yourself to the examples provided in this lesson. Consider what it would take to set new standards and communicate your sustainable values, which is green, or collaborate with customers and encourage them to share responsibility, which is greener, or support innovation and reshape the culture, which is greenest. Then use the CRED analysis to craft the story of your product or service for advertising purposes. And then develop your action plan to prioritize the possible marketing activities. Now it's your turn. Download the marketing plan template and apply it to one of your products or services. Be creative, have fun with it. In this session, we discussed your marketing efforts. So, what is the next step in your journey to a greener organization?